Yo, can y'all hear me? Okay, yeah, here we go. Listen, man, y'all tuned in to We Locked In. I'm your host, Moshe Canty. I'm glad that y'all could pull up, man. On y'all way in, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and please share, man. Share at least with one person that you know. Tonight we're gonna talk about some serious topics, man. We got some things that we need to discuss. It's a lot going on in the news. As you guys see from the title, it's we're not gonna play no games tonight, man. So we obviously need to discuss. Yo, can y'all hear me? These serious topics. The topic being the assassination, murder, whatever you want to call it. Um, the the blatant violation and disrespect of the brother Tyre Nichols. So first, let's just say, man, I want to send our condolences on behalf of We Locked In, myself, KK, and Mikey B. Man, we send our condolences to the family of Tyre Nichols, his mother, his loved ones, who right now are planning the funeral for their relative. I don't want to politicize this issue. I don't want it to be one of those type of situations, but let's just be real, Mike. This is one of those topics that we definitely need to discuss. Because if we don't discuss this, man, we just literally, letting stuff like this go on by. But I want to come from a unique perspective, though. I don't want to. I don't just want to have this conversation for the sake of doing so, because by doing so, we kind of do ourselves a disservice. Um, and we just talk about this, and that's all we pretty much do. We just have this conversation about another black man being killed by the police. But I want to come from a different perspective. Um, and I'll explain over time what that perspective is. Um, so the thing is this, right? Um, I mean, we've all seen the video. If we have, we haven't. I don't know. I'm just saying it because generally this is what's been going on the news. I'm gonna obviously show it, and I don't want to show it because I don't want to get into the graphicness of it, the depravity of it, anything like that. I want us to kind of like be in that moment where, for those of us who have relatives who shouted out Daryl Carr, Champ Stone, I see y'all up in the building. I don't want to just have this conversation where we're talking about or watching videos where we're just talking about the depravity of somebody being killed. I want us to imagine that, at any given moment, when we leave our houses, this can be us. This can be our kids. This can be our family members. This can be our friends, our comrades. This could be somebody who we all know. Because just like him, he was a black man on his way somewhere. At the dark of the night, when the sun went down, you already know when as the old saying goes, the freaks come out at night. So it's like anything is bound to happen, right? So I just want us to kind of like really, really put our thoughts into that. But more importantly, man, just focus on the fact that somebody is gone, somebody's dead, and this is at the hands of the police. There's a lot of gray areas, a lot going on, right? Lot of things I need to touch up on. And as somebody who personally has had encounters with police in the past, whether on the streets or inside of the penal institutions, I know firsthand what can occur when those handcuffs are placed on you, and it's your word against theirs. That right there is a narrative that we shouldn't overlook. And it's something that we should definitely not take lightly. So this is the thing, right? I'm gonna get right into this video, and I want us to really, really just pay attention to just some of the things. And I'm gonna point certain stuff out, just so we can have an opportunity of just, just all being on the same page, right? And I just want us to look at this, just get right to it. I don't want to play no games with it. I really don't want to show it, but I feel like I have to. Now, there obviously are different versions of it. I don't want to. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to downplay any of this, right? It's just really hard for me to keep looking at this. But and for the record, man, you know, I'm showing this from off of the news, so I want us to kind of like all tap into this, man.
Here tonight with breaking news. In a moment, Memphis and much of the country have steeled themselves for. Officials have just released video showing 5 former Memphis police officers engaged in what prosecutors have charged as acts of murder. A day after those 5 officers were arrested and charged with second-degree murder in the death of Tyre Nichols, videos of the January 7th violent confrontation are now online, posted by officials who have promised transparency in the case. The footage taken from body cam and surveillance cameras showing the incident from multiple angles. The strong emotions the videos may provoke have officials in Memphis and elsewhere preparing to watch over spontaneous and what they and the family hope will be peaceful protests. Tom Llamas has the latest now from Memphis, but first, let me warn you, the video is graphic and it is quite disturbing.
Tonight, the video the nation has been bracing for is out. Graphic footage showing 5 former Memphis police officers brutally beating 29-year-old Tyre Nichols, leaving him with injuries so severe he died 3 days later. Get on the ground! Portions of the video were blurred by police. The video from January 7th begins after police pull Nichols over for alleged reckless driving. There's a confrontation between Nichols and officers.
Okay, you guys are really doing a lot right now.
Bro, lay down.
I'm just trying to go home.
Nichols flees on foot. Officers detain him a second time, and that's when the brutality begins.
Watch out.
The body cam and surveillance video we are now seeing for the first time, so violent, Nichols' own mother chose not to watch it at all. At one point, the video shows how he cried out for her.
Mom!
The video, released by Memphis police, they say portions showing uninvolved people and cars were cut out. Nichols' stepfather saw the footage earlier this week.
All right, so I wanted you guys to see, you know, we saw all of the build up to it and stuff like that. There was another video I wanted you guys to see, which I will eventually show you. You know, inshallah, I will get you. I want you to see something in particular. So apparently, as the evidence, as we now know, what they've been telling us and what's going on and stuff like that, that they stopped him because he was allegedly driving recklessly. That was the story that came out, right? Now there's more information that's coming out as time goes on. So as we're continuing to get this information, we're all like getting it in on the news, and it's not like anybody's there. We don't really know what's happening until we're getting this information. So all of us are probably getting this information at the same time, right? So they stop him. As you guys see them, they're very aggressive. Like they're approaching this car very aggressively. Like and during the encounter, you can see that he's a little bit more calmer than the officers themselves. He's like literally like on some like, yo, what's going on? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then just out of nowhere, they just start grabbing him out the car, right? So you would think like, wow, if this is just over a reckless driving, that's what they allegedly, what's going on with all this aggression? Like, what's the deal? Like, what's happening here? Like, is this guy wanted for, you know, for shooting down 8 cops or something? You know what I'm saying? Like, is he wanted for a massacre type vibe? Like, what's going on? Is he some terrorist or something that needs to be taken down like right now? Like, what's going on? So all of this is just that, you know, this is like it's not a mass shooter. This is some guy who is just driving down the street, and they said that he's driving recklessly, right? So I just don't understand, first of all, why is there all of the aggression for, right? That's just the first part of my question, right? So they don't ask him to get out the car, if you notice on the video. Now, there's portions of the video that's missing, but they just go right into get out the car. They go from 0 to 100. They don't go from 0 to 20, 20 to 50. Nah, they just get right to the the top of it. So my question is, why are they doing this though? Like, what's going on? Why are they so aggressive? Right? They pull a man out the car, and you can see while he's on the floor, he's like, "Yo, y'all doing the most. Like, this ain't even that type of. I'm just going home to my mom's. Like, like what's going on here? Like, what's happening?" Later on, they don't find any drugs. They don't find no weapons. They don't find none of this stuff. So it's not like he's trying to conceal anything. They just basically saying that this individual was driving reckless. Anyway, you see that he ends up getting out of that. I don't know how he was able to get out of that. The brother was very quick and strong, I can see, but he was, there's no, perpetual platy, there's no lie. There's definitely something personal. That's why I'm going to get there to that. Now, there's been, based on your statement of what you said, there's something that's personal there. There's been stuff that's been coming out behind the scenes about allegations of certain stuff, right? But I don't have anything to confirm that, so I can't say it. But there's allegations that one of the officers and Tyre, don't necessarily know each other, but there's previous interactions, right? And it has something to do with a relationship. But I don't have nothing to confirm that. But from what we know now, however, we can see that there is just aggression at this point, right? So they're coming at the car, they pull him out, he breaks out, right? Once they end up grabbing him, getting them back up or whatever like that, they then now do what they do. Now, we saw the second part of that where they start beating them up, right? So where is it appropriate in their policies, their procedures, their guidelines, their trainings, that this is what officers are supposed to be doing once they put you in these cuffs and stuff like that? Obviously, he's defenseless. They start pepper spraying him. He can't even breathe. He can't see. And you can see that even some of them pepper sprayed themselves, right? So you can see that a part of them being pepper sprayed, they couldn't even take the pepper spray. So they had issues because they needed each other's assistance by pouring water into each other's eyes. And you can see them sitting, hunched over trying to get their breath because they couldn't deal with the fact that they've been sprayed. So if you can't deal with it, then why would a man in handcuffs be able to deal with it himself, right? So you can kind of see the contradictions and things like that. Anyway, he's on the floor, they start kicking him and stuff like that, and we know what happens next, right? So these are the after photos. You guys saw a brief picture of it. I'm gonna put this up here, and please forgive me for doing this. I don't want to keep black plasterings, but I want us to see this man's face, right? So this is him. Now, I don't know at this time. Well, you know what? This is probably when he's already deceased at this moment, right? I didn't confirm. I don't know if any of us can confirm if this at this point of this photo, his life has already been taken from him. But I do see one of the intubators that it's disconnected. So this would give me the impression that yes, at some point they began to, disconnect the tubes and stuff like that, and so on and so forth, because he obviously was deceased. So again, I'm only speculating. I don't have any hardcore evidence to support that other than what the photo shows, right? So look at this face of his. Look at what he looks like in the aftermath. Now, mind you, he only sustained these injuries when he was handcuffed. He was not looking like this when the car was stopped. He was not looking like this when they initially put the cuffs on him. This only occurred after he was handcuffed, right? Again, I'm going to stop sharing for the record, right? Yeah, yo, King Sunrise, no doubt, bro. They did the brother filthy, right? So, and this is all happening while he's handcuffed. So he goes from being calm to panicking. From panicking, he goes to the stage of agony from all of the pain, and then you can kind of see him like kind of going through a phase where he's blanking out, right? And you don't really see a response from him. He's just like out. Now I can imagine whatever was happening internally, perhaps his brain was swelling. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't know what was going on, but we do know based on what the coroner has stated. And again, I'm not a coroner. I'm not in the medical field, that they basically say he died from his internal injuries. That's a lot that happened, that you're getting beat up by 4, 5, 6 individuals. He's only $140, $150. So you got to imagine that all this is taking place. They're really hurting him. So the next thing I want to speak on is who these people are, right? These officers themselves, we see where they're at. Hold on, let me just show you them. They need to be seen. The world needs to see them, right? The world definitely needs to get an opportunity of who these individuals are, because these are individuals who was supposed to be upholding the law, right? Now, I want to use that intentionally and sarcastically when I say upholding the law, right? Now, not only are these individuals guilty for what we witnessed them do in terms of assassinating and killing and murdering Tyre Nichols, right? But these individuals are also guilty of upholding white law. This is what has been happening to Black people from our initial encounter with Europeans, the slave owners, since many of our ancestors were forcibly removed from their homeland to come over here. They've been getting jumped and lynched by white mobs from the beginning. What makes this situation a little bit more different is that these is individuals who are all Black. They're the same. All of these guys are really, really like brown skinned, dark. You see them on the street, just walking down the street, you probably be like, yo, peace, bro. You wouldn't even know that they were police. Some of these individuals look like our cousins, our brothers, our relatives. They look like family, right? I'm sure all of us can say that, though. But the problem is that what separated them from a lot of us is that these individuals were upholding white law. But I'm gonna give some pushback. And I know you guys might say, "Oh, yo, Mo, you overstepping your boundaries. Yo, you wilding out." But just bear with me, right? Are these individuals any different than some of our own family and loved ones, and some of us, even myself included, who even at one time engaged in senseless, ignorant practices where we was harming our own people in our communities? As we know right now, Black men are threatened by their own people. So yeah, the police did it. The police killed them and all that. But aren't we killing each other too? So I'm kind of mixed. This is a mixed thing for me. Yeah, I'm gonna hold them account because they engaged in something where the loss of life occurred, right? But it's a lot of Black people losing their lives senselessly across America, in a lot of urban cities, just across America in general. We know what's happening in Chicago right now, on the south side of Chicago, on the west side of Chicago. What's going on in Compton, South Central, and Watts, and Brownsville, and East New York, South Side Jamaica, Queens, among other places. We can keep going on and on and on. The Fifth Ward, the Ninth Ward in Louisiana, and New Orleans, and we can Newark, New Jersey, and so on and so forth, right? Where we're doing it to each other. We're doing it to each other. So it really, when I see these individuals, although they got badges on their uniforms, they are part of a unit called Scorpion, which we'll get into as well. These individuals themselves really didn't do anything that we ain't doing to ourselves, man. We doing the same crazy stuff to each other, man. We doing it verbally. We doing it emotionally. We doing it psychologically. We doing it physically. We doing it on every level. And now we got an opportunity to see it play right before our very eyes by those individuals who, quote unquote, are supposed to be protecting and serving us. But that's not what's happening. These individuals are not only guilty for the crime that they committed against Tyre Nichols, but they're also guilty for upholding white law. That's what white law looks like historically and traditionally in America. Black people know exactly what that looks like in America. They even know what it looks like. I don't know what their reasons is for getting involved with the Memphis Police Department, But it's obvious that these individuals themselves, they had a different agenda. And I don't know if you guys heard it on the video, but these individuals sounded more street than the dude Tyre Nichols. Tyre Nichols, no disrespect to him, but he didn't strike me as your street guy. He struck me as a guy who was just young, black, and just happened to be the son of someone who lives in that community. I didn't get none of the street vibe, corner, gripped up, vest on, let's go get to the bag. He don't strike me as that guy. He strikes me as just your typical black guy in the hood. These guys was talking about, they was throwing N-words around. They was talking about you bitch, you mother effer. I was like, I thought these dudes was the homies. Real talk. I'm just keeping it 100. These dudes like sunning them in them. Like, yeah, it was, yo, listen, not only is it worse than the Rodney King beating, because in Rodney King's case, you know, he was high on PCP. He kept getting back up. So he was kind of high, right? You know, I'm not justifying that, but he was being beaten, and I don't realize if he understood the impact of that until after the drugs wore off, right? That's not an excuse. But these individuals just seem all geeked up. They just wanted some blood. They was gonna get it. How they saw it, how they felt it. They just felt like this is what we was gonna do like that. And these individuals are a part of a unit. Now, for the record, all these individuals are like new officers. So I'm gonna stop sharing here, and I'm gonna go to this one. This one right here shows these individuals. So they went from here, not being decorated in any case. They're not decorated because they just started working. But look how fast things change for them. This is something we should always be mindful. And then this is just like as black people, right? So here they are upholding white law, and yet they thought that they was above white law. And look what happens to them when they thought that they was above white law. Look, all these black faces, look, they're about to go to a place where a lot of black people at. Look what happened real quick. Look, bang, right there. Look, bang, boom. Now you look like, you don't even look like Officer Sunning them and them no more. Now you look like, yo, Ron Do Murder, Ja Meek, you know, Ron and them from up the block. Yeah, Sunning them. Yeah, you look the same. You look just like us. Things look different now for you. See what I'm saying? Because you thought that you can apply white law the way you want to apply it, and now you jammed up in a predicament right now. Now you facing murder 2 charges. Now your situation looking real different right now. Yeah, it's looking totally different right now. Now the whole game done changed for you now, right? And I'm want to talk about upholding white law a little bit longer, man. I don't know how else to put this, but again, I'm not against, and let me just state this for the record. This is what I'm trying to tell you, your Daryl Carr. They look, and I don't want to profile these individuals, but when you look at the photo of Tyre, what's the brother name? Tyre Nichols, he looks like a different black guy. These guys look like different guys. I can't even imagine these dudes jumping out on us. I would probably hate these guys in the hood. I'm not gonna front. In East New York, where I'm from, back in the days, these dudes jumping out on us. Yo, listen, yo, may Allah have mercy on me. I'm not even gonna go there. But listen, look at these guys. These guys look like they want to smoke. They look like they want to smoke. They look like they want smoke. And these individuals are a part of the Scorpion unit. I don't know if you individuals are familiar with that. I've been doing my own little research. I haven't heard anything about the Scorpion unit other than when this occurred, but I am very familiar with Scorpion type units across America. All right. We all are to some extent familiar with, right? C Fresh 1000. I see you in the building, man. Shout it out to you, man. We all are aware of Scorpion type tactics in tactical units like the Scorpion unit. There's no question about that. Whether you call them narcos, whether you call them ramparts like in LA, whether you call them the D's, I don't care what name you refer to them as, these individuals themselves have the same name. And you know what they think they can do? They think they can jump out on you with impunity and do what the hell they want to do. Chase you down in the hood, put the cuffs on you, smack you up, beat you up, put drugs on you. Yeah, throw you down flights of stairs in the projects, clap you, get away with it. Say you said this, you didn't say it, say you did this, none of this never happened, fabricating documents. These dudes are the worst of the worst. Now, there's a portion of the video, I wanted to get it. I don't know if I have it now, where these individuals started justifying their reason for doing what they did. I don't know if you guys saw it, where they began saying, yo, man, he tried to grab me, he tried to grab the gun. Yo, yeah, oh man, he's real strong. He did this, he did that. And it's like, whoa. Well, I didn't see him try to grab a gun. I mean, maybe you guys saw that, but I didn't see it. So this story that they was trying to, I guess, throw out there was probably their way of saying, you know what? Let's try to justify our ways of doing that. But let's go back to the scene. After they beat him up, and they beat him up real bad. I know you guys saw him cocking his arm back to throw that punch 3 or 4 times till he fell down. Now, anybody knows if you are, it don't take too much to knock you out. And if you're a burly man, and if you look at all these guys look like they're physically, like they look like they all are at least 190 and up. Look like you get hit by one of them, they can hurt you real bad, right? So they're hitting this individual. They're hitting the brother of Tyre. They're hitting Tyre. They're hitting until he falls down. You would think that they would have the decency to check, to see if whether or not he may need medical attention. These individuals didn't even go over there to check his vitals, to ask him if he was all right. The audacity of these individuals is on a whole different type of time. This is a different group of individuals. This Scorpion unit has a sense of entitlement, and they think that they can go in any neighborhood in Memphis and treat dudes with any level of disrespect like they can. Now look at where they at. All of you guys right here. Yeah, you 5 right here, and it's probably going to be more, y'all. Look at what happens when you think you have this sense of entitlement and you want to uphold white law. Now you're in a predicament right now. Now you're in a jam. Now you are in a jam. And I think that is really unfair. And I'm going to say this, because we have relatives out there, some of us who are police officers, and they're not bad people. They just want to do the right thing. They don't have any inkling towards depriving people of their human rights, of their unalienable rights. But they just want to basically just protect people from bad people. Are there bad people in the world? Yeah, there's bad people in the world. Do we need good people to stop bad people from doing bad things? Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm not against there being some form of order in our communities. However, and I have to stress however, what that looks like, let me just go real quick and share this with you guys, just so you guys just to see where I'm coming from. Little perspective, little backdrop. All right, so I'm talking about like this, right? Now, you guys remember if you guys are aware of the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, their 10-point plan, right? And this is simple. I'm gonna go down. We know, we want freedom. We want our power to determine the destiny of our Black and oppressed communities. Number 2, we want full employment for our people. Number 3, we want to end the robbery by the capitalists of our Black and oppressed communities, etc. Now, this was back in 1966 when Huey P. Newton, the late Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale, they put this together. But I want you guys to focus on number 7, right? And this was their plan of what they wanted for our people in oppressed communities in America. Number 7 says what? We want an end to police brutality and murder of Black people, other people of color, all oppressed people inside the United States, right? So check this out, right? This was the original 10-point plan of the Black Panther Party for self-defense. So this would indicate that back in 1966, because the Panthers was founded on October 15, 1966, that this right here meant that Black people were being killed even back then. We know this already. And we know one of them happened to be Denzel Dowell, who was killed in Sacramento. And that's when the Panthers went out there to support his family. He had his hands up in the air. The autopsy report said that, that he had his hands in the air and he was shot from, you could see him having his hands up in the trajectory of the bullets was going into his arms as if he had his hands up and in his back, indicating that he was fleeing. Right. So, but not only that, we know that there has been tens, hundreds, thousands of Black men who have been killed, right, by racist white people. And again, I want to stress that this particular incident is different because these individuals were Black. So what I want to focus on in this case is number 7, right? What the Panthers did in the aftermath of that was that they began policing themselves. They began walking around the community, policing themselves, policing the community. And this is not something that's new. Just for the record, we as Black men, we as Black women in our communities, we're not just walking around trying to protect ourselves from outside racist officers that were hell-bent on killing us with impunity. No, this has been going on in this nation since our arrival here. There's always been people here to protect us. Facts. There's always been individuals who have escaped and broke off and to fight against the establishment because these individuals the people were being killed and things like that. But that's not what I want to get into. I want to focus on the fact that there were those individuals in the community who felt the need to protect us from whether it was the Ku Klux Klan when they was going around bombing homes that of former slaves and, whatever. All of this right here was a part of that process, right? I'm not going to get into that. I want to focus more on the need of us identifying that there's a much bigger problem in our communities. And we can blame the system itself. We can. But the reason that the unit itself, the Scorpion unit itself was established. Now, some people could agree, some people could disagree. Now, I'm of the people, somebody put it in the chat that person should be held accountable. And I do agree that they, as a leader, if they wanted to implement this police unit, to build it so that it can then fight back against crime as according to them, because we're going to get that. I'm going to show you what the New York Times article says about what the reason for the Scorpion unit coming into existence in the first place was, right? I want to show you that. But the aim primarily was to fight against the rise in violence in the city of Memphis, right? So let's just push back a little bit, though. Imagine that we are tax-paying citizens. We're not in the streets. We don't have no connections to the streets. We're just going about our daily affairs. Perhaps we are working. Perhaps we're single mothers taking care of our kids. Perhaps we're just a married couple who just is taking care of their family and is paying mortgage and wants to just do the right thing, right? They want to retire with all of their benefits, their 401k and all of these things, right? They're not on the corners. They're not getting high. They're not doing none of this. They just one may be a veteran. Who knows? The husband may be a veteran or what have you, right? Or perhaps that's not the case. Perhaps you're just a college kid. And you're trying to, you just graduated from college or you're in college and you want to do things that that can benefit you and empower you in the future. You want to be something bigger than your neighborhood. But just imagine that in spite of all of these examples I provided to you, when you step outside your home, there's shots going off. Dudes in the hood is bugging out, right? It's lit out there, right? Dudes late at night, robberies is happening, burglaries is happening, arsons, drug deals going bad, murders is taking place. It's lit. This is your community. And you feel like, damn, I don't have no, as these people, they may feel, I don't have no, there's nobody out here to protect us. Who do we have? So the police to them is their only defense mechanism in a community where we know these communities exist across America because we are from these communities where crime is just out of control. Look at what's going on in New York City right now. New York City is lit. Has crime risen? Yes, it has ticked up, but it's not to where it was in the 90s and stuff like that. But it has gotten back up a little bit, but not on a crazy level. But it's kind of crazy out there right now. You don't know what's going to happen on any given day, right? So what about the people who feel a certain way, like the lady in the Bronx, right? The older lady in the Bronx who, was assaulted in the building. What about the female who ran in her home because the guy chased her in the home and who knows what he was going to do if he had access to her? What about the woman who ran in her home and the guy ran in her home after that and raped her while her daughter was in the other room asleep? So some people want the police to be there. So we got to look at all of this right here. So all of this is taking place. And this is the reason why they said, quote unquote, rise in violent crime while the Scorpion unit was established. So I'm imagining that when they're saying this, because we all know from a standpoint of having to, let me take this down, you guys. From the standpoint of knowing data and things like that, right? And knowing the importance of having trying to meet metrics and having them systems and all of that, right? You say to yourself, what was they saying when they built this unit? Because at the end of the day, they got to meet quarterly. They got to have monthly quotas. Well, let me start. Weekly quotas, monthly quotas, quarterly quotas, biannual and annual quotas. They have to meet a quota. They got to get guns off the street. They got to lock people up. They have to justify their reason for funding the Scorpion unit. If not, then the Scorpion unit can get disbanded. So let's just assume that these individuals are like, yo, we're going to bring you guys together. We're going to pull you guys all the way together. This is what we want. This is what we need. We need you guys to be tapped all the way in. We need you guys to go hard because you got Bam Bam and them. They on the west side. You got Moo Moo and them over there on the east side. And you got JoJo and them on the south side. And these individuals is running the city. And we need you guys to take the city back. How you think these guys are going to take the city back? They're going to go over there friendly? They're going to go over there and say, hey, Moo Moo, hey, JoJo, man, hey, man. Nah, it ain't happening like that. These individuals is coming with a vengeance. And you know why? I'm going to tell you why. These cops here were not even on the force for more than 5 years, all of them. These individuals just started working. Some of them were ex-COs. One was an ex-CO who had a claim against him where allegedly he beat somebody up. So that's already in his past that he has a thing with using force excessively, right? In violation of the 8th Amendment. So this is, and then, you got to imagine that their attitude was just like, we just going to just take these streets back by any means necessary. We at war. We at war. We got the backing of our superiors. We're going to meet these metrics. We're going to take these guns off the streets. You think they did that in a nice way? You think, because people are starting to come out now that they also experienced assault by the hands of the Scorpion unit. They were also abused in some way by the Scorpion unit. And I'm sure that there may be some individuals who might come forward and say that they were set up by the Scorpion unit. You think all the guns that they got out off the streets perhaps may have been done in an honorable way? Does everybody believe that these individuals are honorable people? They didn't think that camera was going to be there. And if that camera wasn't there, they probably would have said something. The story would have been a lot different. But the camera just happened to record. I'm not talking about the cameras that's on them. I'm talking about the camera that was on the pole camera. So this is what I'm putting into perspective, just so you guys can get an opportunity to kind of like weigh and judge this on your own merits, on your own accord, right? But I want to just give you some backdrop. And again, this is coming from Mike Baker from the New York Times. So just for the record, I'm just going to just read this for you guys so we can have a little clarity. This is from the New York Times. These are not my, yes, it was G'd Up Quinn. Definitely it was a poll cam. So let me just read you guys this so this could be some clarity. And again, this is from January 27, 2023 regarding the Scorpion unit. All right. So, and this is in the New York Times. So if you want to do your own independent research, you can confirm the truth on your own. You can deny the truth on your own. I'm just giving you what's out here. Not to suggest that the New York Times is coming from a truthful standpoint. Remember, these are journalists. Sometimes they get things wrong. It's up to you to go out there and discern what is truthful more than anything. So it says that the Memphis police officers charged with the brutal killing of Tyre Nichols were part of a specialized unit that had been formed a little more than a year ago to help halt the surge of violence in the city, right? The unit called Scorpion, or the Street Crimes Operation to Restore Peace in Our Neighborhoods unit. So these guys, their responsibility is to restore peace. So you got to ask yourself a question. How do you guys intend on restoring peace? Because when you say that, you would have to think, okay, you know what? There has to be some form of, a tactical way you're going to go about doing this. All right. So let's just keep reading before I interject my opinion into the mix. All right. So it said Scorpion was designed as a 40-officer group that would deploy in neighborhoods with a focus on crime hotspots. Listen, y'all. The officers have often operated in unmarked vehicles, making traffic stops, seizing weapons, and conducting hundreds of arrests. Right? Remember, unmarked cars. Tell me how you would respond if an unmarked car ran up on you, not letting you know they police. They just jumping out, guns drawn. Think about this. There's a reason why you just don't do that. You just jumping out. Yo, what's up? Yo? You tell me. I don't know what's going on. What's up? Get out the car. Who the hell are you? Think about it. So this is, they're creating a scenario where this is what's going to help fight crime, right? Now, we already know that Judge Shineland in New York has stated that stop and frisk is illegal. This is what she said in New York. This is why they had to disband that whole practice of it. She used data to support the fact that you guys are only pulling over people who are black and brown. Ain't nobody white getting jumped out on. This is racial profiling. Everybody who's black and brown, you can't jump out on them and somehow you got a call somewhere. Yeah, there was a call that, someone looked like this. We all look like this. What are you talking about? So the system itself, that's what I'm saying. White law, inherent within the system of white law is to profile black people. You're not profiling white people. It's inherent. But the data in New York supported Judge Shineland's decision to overturn it. The reason why is because it was profiling. It was a systemic form of racial profiling. But they were using, quote, the law to justify their reasons for doing so. And most of the people who they were locking up were individuals who was getting locked up with weed, who they later on said you can smoke. Don't get me started with this. Anyway, I'll keep reading. The unit was such a key part, listen to the words, of the city's crime fighting strategy that Mayor Jim Strickland touted it in his State of the City address a year ago, at a time when the city was tallying record homicide numbers. Now, that unit has been involved in the fatal encounter that police chief Cerelyn Davis, who created the team in the fall of 2021, that's who created it. I see somebody says she should be held accountable, called, quote, heinous, reckless, and inhumane. So hold on. On one hand, you guys touted it now. It was successful on one hand. But you didn't explain what led to your success. You're only using the quotas, the data, to show that their actions, we don't know what they are, contributed to the numbers decreasing in the violence decreasing. But only when somebody was killed when there was a camera showing it. Now it's heinous, reckless, and inhumane. And recently, as of today, they just disbanded the whole unit outright. If this unit was so successful, why are you disbanding the unit when only 5 officers were responsible in doing that? If the unit itself was so successful in helping to decrease crime, why would you disband a successful unit? Because you're lying. And y'all got mad stuff to cover up. It's a lot of stuff going on with that unit, y'all. I'm telling y'all. It's a lot going on with that unit. You're not going to disband no successful unit. If crime is that, listen to me, y'all. If crime is that crazy in Memphis, and I'm not saying it ain't, and y'all got a unit that's helping to fight back against it, but only 5 people that were a part of that were responsible of it, what the hell you disbanding it? It's 40, 50 other people. Right? They ain't had nothing to do with it. So what the hell we going to be held accountable? Oh, because y'all want to keep things a secret before stuff start really blowing up. Because the Fed's going to jump up in there in the mix. I guarantee the Justice Department will be there in a minute, taking over documents, looking over things, and they're going to see a lot of stuff going on in that unit. So you're trying to get ahead. This is all PR right here, y'all. But you know what? It looks like it's going to be more in the cover-up. Yo, y'all hit that like button, man. Subscribe to the channel, please, man. I'm your host, Moshe Canty. We talking about this Scorpion unit tied to the murder of Tyre Nichols that has been permanently scrapped. And they say permanently, but that's the name Scorpion unit has been scrapped. But I guarantee you that they will create another name and create another unit under a different pseudonym. Guarantee. I guarantee you that, y'all. Of course, there was a gun unit in Baltimore that was similar to that Scorpion unit. That's what I'm trying to tell you, G-Dub Quinn. They only name it something different. They give it different names. The vast majority of people in our communities are not committing crimes. Listen to me. Shinnecock Warrior, I know what I'm. Listen, that's right, bro. That's the only way they are going to be able to effectively make an impact in these communities. So what they're doing is that they're looking, man, we ain't even gonna get to the 77th, the 75th, the 73rd. We got a whole bunch of stories regarding them. Don't get me started. Listen to me. I'm telling you guys, the reality of this is that not everybody is committing crimes in our neighborhoods. A percentage of people are, but the whole community is not. And we got to think about it. They're talking about the South. The South, where carrying guns is actually legal in some states. So you talk about you took off 250 firearms off the streets. That's what I'm saying. That data can be very misleading. Very misleading. We don't have all the evidence. We don't have all the facts. That's why that's another thing. We got to be very careful as to who's telling that story, the narrative that they spitting, what they trying to hit us with, because they can spin us with anything. Anything can spin us off. And next thing you know, you believe in all type of stuff. So I want to bring this back, y'all. You know I just went off on a tangent, got all hype and crazy and all that. But I want us to really, really focus on one thing in this. And this is arguably the most important of this. That somebody lost their life. So while you and I are able to talk, y'all able to put y'all opinions, y'all voices in the chat. You guys are able to hear my voice. The reality is that, this young man is not able to talk to his mother no more. And I want us to process that right there. Like, I really want us to process that. But I want it to be a call to action for us that we need to like reevaluate like our contributions to who we are as a people, man. Are we a part of the problem? Are we part of the solution? Like what are we doing? Like what role are we playing in the whole grand scheme of things? Some of us have sons. I don't have a son. Some of us have sons out there. What's the conversation you're having with your son when you guys are sitting down watching TV and this comes over the news that this man has been killed by police? What's that conversation looking like? How are you talking to your son, your nephew, individuals who you might be mentoring, the young little bros and the young little sisters who are on their way to the after school program? Like, what's that conversation like in the aftermath of this when they're looking at the fact that the police just knocked off somebody on national TV? The whole world is looking at this. How they gonna look at their officers in their neighborhoods? And then you got the officers that they're looking at cynically, but then right up the block, you got the crews and the cliques, and you might get jumped by them. Ain't nobody safe no more. You ain't safe by the people who live in your community. You ain't safe by the authorities. You ain't safe. It's like everybody out for self right now. Who's next? That's how it's looking. Who's next? So this thing is getting real spooky, man. This thing getting real spooky around here. You know, got this thing looking like Pookie around here. Like, for real, this thing is looking spooked out. So I'm speaking from the perspective of saying, like, yo, like, we need to start being more proactive in helping to raise the awareness of all of what's going on in our communities. This is what we need to start doing more of. Because if we do not have these critical conversations with our kids, man, we can be responsible for their demise in a number of ways. Whether they get hoarded away to someone's prison, whether they get gunned down in the streets by the dudes up the block, whether they get pulled over by the police and nobody taught them what their rights are and how to exercise them and speak a certain way. And we need to make sure that our people are prepared on every level, because we living in some serious times right now where the innocent are being pulled out their vehicles and cuffs are thrown on them and they being beat to death in the streets by people that look like you. I said it the other day on the China Map is Black Part 2 thing when I was saying, listen, don't tell me about the black stuff and all that. Because everybody black ain't your peoples. And then look, boom, look what we get right here. This is obvious. Everybody black ain't your peoples. And I'm not saying this language so that it can be divisive or anything like that. I'm saying this as a warning. This is some serious stuff that's going on. We have a moral, an ethical responsibility, and even just using these platforms, you know, just sitting up and having a much deeper conversation, just having these conversations like, yo, this is very serious out here. Not taking it for granted. So shout out to everybody, man, that has spoken about this. From the much smaller platforms to those that are growing, those that only got 100 subscribers, whoever's just raising the alarm, sounding the alarm, whoever you have influence over, you need to keep this conversation going. Because this is real stuff that's happening, man. That young man is dead. He's dead. It's over. He's gone. Yo, hit that like button, y'all, man. Please, man. Subscribe to this channel. I'm going to be closing out in about 3 minutes, man. Yeah, you're right. You're right. He never got hostile. I see what you're saying, Chris. The John Bay. He never got hostile, man. I just want to kind of keep this thing simple, but just a conversation that I'm not trying to incite anybody and rile anybody up, and that's not what I'm doing in this instance. I just want to just raise everyone's awareness of what's happening so that we can have that conversation with each other. Perhaps we can save someone's life by having that conversation. There's more I want to say, but there's more I can't say. I just can't say certain stuff. I won't say certain stuff. But we gotta do better. We gotta hold our younger brothers and sisters accountable who we have influence over as well. Shout out to everybody that pulled up in the chat. Hewitt, G'd Up Quinn, King Ross, Son, Shaka Shakur, Daryl Carr, Perpetual, Platypus. I see y'all up in the building. Chris LaJambe, Mace, Block for Speaking Facts. Dial Tone. Oh man, Dial Tone, that's my bro from back in the days. You already know 75th is mad crooked. I mean, Art. Yeah, man. Shout out to all y'all, man. Everybody that pulled up to tune in, man. And look, you know, we got a few people in the chat, man. I seen it was about 52 people in the chat. 52 people is a lot of people, y'all. A lot of people. I'm thankful that y'all pulled up. I'm really appreciative that y'all pulled up, man. Y'all could have been anywhere else, but like Mel Cross say, y'all here with me. You know what I'm saying? So I really appreciate that. I'm not gonna hold y'all. I know it's Saturday. Y'all probably got some things y'all want to do. We jumping up on an hour right now. And you know, share this with somebody who you know at least, man. C Fresh 1000. Thank you for pulling up. Brody, real talk. Miss Sunshine, it's always a pleasure, sis. G'd Up Quinn, thank you, man. I didn't even see that, man. Thank you, man. You slid that in, man. Thank you for that super chat, man. We appreciate Mikey, KK, and I. We appreciate that. Really, really appreciate that. Champ Stone, you already know, man. Mad love to y'all, man. Thank y'all for pulling up to We Locked In. Like I said, Sky Swipe, everybody that pulled up. Listen, man, if you have influence over a loved one, a family member, or a friend, or what have you, share this with them. Let them know to subscribe to the channel. There's content for everybody. There may be content that you might like or you might not like. But you know, we try to keep it very diverse. We try to have some laughs every now and then, to break up the monotony. But for the most part, you know, We Locked In. We want to have these serious conversations about the issues that's relevant and pertinent to us all. So, I'm hoping you guys gain some benefit from this. Again, man, thank you guys for tuning in, man. Y'all have a safe night. Be safe out there, man. Keep your eyes open. Be careful crossing the streets because you see what's going on, man. Don't get stung by no scorpions out there, man. Stay up. All right, man. Y'all take it easy, man. One love, man. We locked in.